You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Hop on YouTube, welcome to the hood table, where we chop up local and global events vocally. You don't really wanna miss out on these conversations. Just joke a little, laugh a little, get that wine in your system, fill your glass a little. Expose current events, talk trash a little. You never know, these opinions might clash a little. They addicted to the content, got them binge watching. You don't like it, then you want invited. Bet your friends watching in the house or in your job parking lot before you clocking. They don't wanna miss a second of this HT content. Everybody think they got something to say, so it's an open invitation, bring it to the table. But if you come whack, just know we ain't buying in. We gon' probably turn your back and tell you sorry, try again, Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable.
Hey, what up, Cosmic Girl? How are you doing? How the heck are you in my J Dunn voice? What's up, everybody? Y'all ready for this last day of testimonies, last day of directs, last day of crosses in the Diddy sex trafficking and racketeering trial? What say you? Guilty? Not guilty? Please let me know how y'all feel about this case. We are going to go through the docs, the transcripts. I'm going to show y'all a little video clip. I'm going to read some information that I found on the internet from interviews with people, specifically one from a warden who used to run a prison, on their thoughts on Diddy and his stay if he is convicted. So yeah, we got a few things to talk about. We're probably going to be on here for about an hour or so. I hope y'all ready for this good old commentary. And of course, at the end of the video or the end of my commentary, I will drop the link just in case you guys want to jump on the panel and discuss, your thoughts on the trial. So please make sure you come on in, like and share the video, please, and thank you very much. Feel free to subscribe, hit the Cash App, $ the Hood Table 402, or send a super chat to your girl for the commentary. Thank you so much. But yeah, so let's get it popping, y'all. First, let me show y'all this little quick video. It's only 2 minutes. 2 minutes news clip. Let me hit mute.
Breaking news, federal prosecutors resting their case in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial. Jurors heard more than 6 weeks of testimony from nearly 36 witnesses. Prosecutors argue their case proves that the music mogul ran a criminal enterprise using business to lure and traffic victims. Both sides have played recordings of the alleged sexual freak-offs, and the jury has seen nearly 45 minutes of those explicit videos. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges and denies any wrongdoing. I'm joined by Rena Roy, live outside the courthouse, also civil trial attorney Trey Lovell. So, Rena, what's the latest from court?
Yeah, well, Kira, the prosecution rested just a short time ago, and we are hearing from our teams inside the courtroom that the defense just asked for an acquittal, asking the judge to immediately find Sean Combs not guilty of all the charges. A defense attorney saying, quote, the defense moves for a judgment of acquittal on all counts, saying that the government has failed to meet its burden. Now, as we know, the government's case has lasted more than 6 weeks. The jury has heard from 34 different witnesses over the course of 28 days. They have seen just really a mountain of evidence here, hundreds of exhibits over the last several weeks. Now, the prosecution's final witness got off the stand a short time ago. It was a summary witness, a Homeland Security special agent who sort of summarized the logistics, if you will, of those so-called freak-offs. The defense will soon present their case. No witnesses, just evidence will be admitted to the record. Of course, we are waiting to hear how the judge will rule on that acquittal request. And tomorrow, if things stick to the timeline that we are hearing, we will see a charging conference when both sides will argue how exactly they want to see the jury instructed on the law, Kira.
All right, well, Trey, the defense is not calling any witnesses, including Combs. What do you make of that legal strategy?
As I was saying, the only reason not to call any witnesses is if you are absolutely certain you have reasonable doubt. and you don't want to do anything that's going to detract from that, take away from that, which includes calling your own favorable witnesses. So when they did that, it shows that they have the utmost confidence that they've already poked enough holes in the case and are ready to go to closing arguments.
All right, Rena Roy, Trey Level, thanks, guys. And for more on the trial, of course, you can catch our show, Burn.
All right, you guys. So as you heard, this is the day the prosecution they ended their arguments. Basically, the defense they had claimed they had like 4 or 5 people that they were going to put on the stand in the defense, but they ended up not doing that. Why? Because, like they say, they think that they have a strong case. They think that the prosecution didn't fully provide burden of proof. So, they rest their case. It was like 30 minutes. It was literally like 30 minutes of the defense. And all they were doing was reading through more text messages. So they didn't call any defense. They didn't call anybody on the stand. All they did was reading through some text messages. And some of the text messages we had already heard. So some people is like, oh, they done messed up. They should have called somebody. They should have, because they were supposed to even, the expert, the doctor, they was even supposed to call somebody to counter, what she had to say regarding why Cassie was doing what she doing, why Cassie stayed, why Jane stayed, trauma bonding, Stockholm, all those kind of things. They didn't even do that. So I don't know. I guess they truly, truly believe, they even asked for acquittal. This was like the 3rd time that they tried to get the case thrown out. So we shall see. I mean, a lot of people are sitting on pins and needles. I know tomorrow around noon, they're supposed to do the charge conference just to go over. Now, I showed you guys already what the charges are supposed to be, right? I showed you guys that yesterday. Some of y'all was here for it. Just in case some of y'all didn't see it, let me pull it up. Some of y'all might have already saw this elsewhere too. Of course, it's all over the internet, so it ain't like I'm the only one who got it. Just like I ain't the only one who got the transcripts. Anybody can get their hand on the transcripts as well. But let me pull this up, and I'm gonna blow it up really big so y'all can see it. It's going to be 5 counts, but basically the judge wants to make sure they go over everything before the jury starts deliberating, because they want to make sure that they understand the charges and what they're supposed to. Hold on, let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and pull this up at the same time. Distracting my own self. Okay. All right, that was too big. All right. Okay, I think y'all can see that. Okay. So, United States District Court, Southern District of New York, United States of America versus Diddy. This is the verdict sheet. Again, count 1. How do you find a defendant on racketeering conspiracy? Not guilty or guilty. Count 2. How do you find a defendant on sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura? Not guilty or guilty. Count 3. How do you find a defendant on the Mann Act of transportation of Cassie for sex trafficking? Not guilty or guilty. And then the same 2 questions goes also for Jane. How do you find a defendant on count 4 for sex trafficking of Jane? Not guilty or guilty. And how do you find a defendant on count 5 for Mann Act transportation of Jane for prostitution? Not guilty or guilty. So those are the charges. Again, they are going to have a charge conference tomorrow around noon. So a lot of people is, like, okay, I guess we chill out tomorrow morning. We sleep in, around 12 o'clock around noon. And of course, that's Eastern Standard Time. They'll be back in court, for that conference. But then deliberations is supposed to start Thursday. They're supposed to have 4 hours each, 4 hours for the prosecuting team, 4 hours for the defense team. The defense team, being that they spent 30 minutes reading over text messages that some of them we already heard, I don't even think they'll probably use the whole the whole 4 hours. But hey, what up, 400? How you doing, love? Good to see you. Good to see you. But yes, y'all heard that Diddy thanked the judge? Child, Diddy done thanked the judge, said he did a great job. Okay. The judge had asked him, "Are you sure you don't want to testify? It's totally up to you, Sir Diddy." He was like, "Nah, judge, I don't want to testify." But he did thank him, talking about, you did an excellent job. So he gave him some praises. But basically what had happened was Diddy told the judge at his sex trafficking trial that he's doing an excellent job, as he confirmed Tuesday, which is today, that he would not be testifying. He made the comment to the USDA, U.S. District Attorney Judge Aaron Sub. I just call him Sub. That last name I can't pronounce. But the question was posed by the Manhattan jurors after the prosecution rested following more than 6 weeks presentation of evidence against the hip-hop maven. Later in the afternoon, the defense rested without calling any witnesses. And in a routine occurrence, and I'm reading this off of MSN, in a routine occurrence after prosecutors rested at criminal trials, Combs' lawyers made arguments to toss out the charges. Again, they wanted a acquittal, arguing that the prosecution team, they didn't prove shit. They didn't meet the burden of proof. That's what they were arguing. The judge said he'll rule at a later date. So the prosecutors have called 34 witnesses. They were supposed to, at the beginning of the trial, they said it was going to be like 40, but remember they dropped some off. So there was only 34 witnesses, which is still a lot, to try to prove the sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy charges that resulted in Diddy's September arrest, including 2 ex-girlfriends of Diddy's who testified that they felt coerced into marathon sex events with male sex workers that were called freak-offs or hotel nights, and let's not forget King's Night was one of the other terms that they used for the freak-offs. But Diddy, again, as we know, has pleaded guilty on everything. He's remained locked up without bail in the federal prison in Brooklyn. And they basically said it is standard practice at the federal criminal trials for the judge to directly question the defendant. And that's exactly what the judge did today. Looked Diddy right in his eye and said, "Are you willing? Do you wanna? It's your choice. You ain't gotta, testify." And Diddy said no. Some people claim that's a bad decision on the defense part, that Diddy should be given a chance to, speak his truth, stand up for himself, defend himself. But other people's like, no, because the defense believes they have a very strong case. They believe that the prosecuting team didn't prove shit. So why put other people up on the stand on the defense side so that maybe it could get fucked up when they get the cross from the prosecution team? If it ain't fixed, you know how they say. So if it ain't broken, don't fix it, So that's probably how the defense team feels right now. But when it came time for the judge sub to question Diddy after the prosecutors rested, the judge asked him how was he doing, and Diddy said, "I'm doing great, Your Honor." And then he started complimenting the judge before another question could be posed. Diddy said, "I want to thank you, Judge. You're doing an excellent job." And then he thoroughly discussed the matters with his lawyer before deciding not to testify. And Diddy said to the judge, "That is my decision, Your Honor." And the judge said, "It is solely up to you." And Diddy said, "And that is solely my decision." And so, prodded by the judge a little further, the judge wanted to clarify. He said, he said, "It's my decision with my lawyers, my decision to make, and I'm making it." So after Diddy confided, with his lawyers and had a little circle, his lawyers decided he didn't want to testify. So that's a little bit. That's a little bit, on what happened in court. We will again go through the transcripts. And you said, "What more we got to prove?" Thank you. What more do they have to prove? They prove so much sex trafficking and prostitution. I don't get why the defense feels like they got it in the bag. But I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. Hey, you know, I'm not an expert of the law. So you know how shit goes sometimes. It can seem like somebody about to get the book thrown at them, like they about to be buried under the jail. And then, hey, they get a Hail Mary. Something comes through in the clutch and they get released. No charges. All charges dropped. So we done seen that shit in, you know, different type of cases, even the most heinous cases, you know. So anyway, but before we get to the transcripts, just a recap of yesterday. Now, y'all know this is the funny part, right? You know, every day I got a gag, and I got to tell y'all what the gag was. So the gag for yesterday's trial was when Diddy. Now, okay, first of all, let me say this. Ever since Diddy got arrested, right? Ever since the charges came up, the accusations came out, people was calling him the diddler. Did Diddy do it? You know, they called their nickname him the diddler. And, you know, people was joking about it, laughing about it. It's funny. But it came out in court yesterday that that's what he really nicknamed himself. Ain't that crazy? When they was reading through text messages, he was calling himself the diddler. Even his Venmo handle is actually the diddler. Okay? When they showed a text message or when they showed a Venmo payment or transaction, it said Diddy's Venmo handle is actually diddler when he said $15,000 for a night of debauchery and a bargaining request to reduce male sex worker rates. Okay, I was gagged. I was so gagged. I was like, no, you didn't. You know how some people talk shit about people and they ended up like, hey, whatever you call me that's what I'm going to be. And some people profit off. We didn't see people in the B sector, YouTube, people call them a name or make some accusations. The next thing you know, they either branding that or getting a website under it, you know, getting an LLC, or they getting a t-shirt with it and they start selling t-shirts and shit like that. So yeah, some people, they just turn it around for the good. But anyway, as far as yesterday on the recap, Homeland Security Special Agent Joseph Cecilio continued his direct. But before he did, lawyers mapped out what would happen this week. Prosecution was still building. They said the defense were expected to arrest tomorrow, which is today, after submitting some exhibits, and closing arguments presumably Thursday, which they still said today in court. Agent Cecilio sat in the dock and it was porn time. They watched a lot of porn, like 45 minutes of explicit videos, not just still pictures, not still photos, actual videos of sex, of freak off sex. They watched 13 explicit video clips of Jane with other men and Diddy himself, and over 12 minutes of triple X rated sex scenes showing exclusive to the jury with headphones only. And the rest of the courtroom was silent as they watched and wondered, what the hell is they watching? Oh my God, I want to be a juror today. But anyway, Cecilio, the agent, said there were about 50 more explicit tapes the jury hadn't seen. Most of the videos filmed over 5 days in December 2021, a hotel binge in HD. One of the jury members briefly closed their eyes. Some of them was laughing. Some of them was looking appalled, like secondhand embarrassment. In September 2023, Diddy, Jane, and the male entertainer, you know, the prostitute Sly, they stayed at the Trump Hotel in New York. Bad Boy Entertainment footed the bill. That's Bad Boy Entertainment. Not Diddy's just own cash on him from his personal credit card. Yeah, they footed the bill. Diddy's manager booked the flights. Jane booked Sly's ride. Then got $5,000 from Diddy's account, his handler. You know, Diddy got several handlers. Also yesterday, Combs wanted Jane's there. So he texts, should I book debauchery for 9 o'clock? Jane responded, he wired her $15,000 just like that. The escort service Cowboys for Angels got $1,100 via Jane's Cash App. Flights was covered. One entertainer booked directly by Combs. Diddy complained about the rates they were giving him. And he said, stop raising my rates. I'm a long-time customer. They said the best guys cost. And he still booked and paid. He still booked. He want them free calls. Diddy gonna pay whatever for them free calls. Just like he paid that hotel $48,000 for all the damage they did during that freak off event that they had at the hotel. Leaving all that bodily fluid and baby oil and I'll be one to say butt lube when I think about Astroglide, but you can put it down there too for the ladies. But anyway. So yeah, Diddy gonna pay. He gonna pay what he weigh. Then later, the agency told him he still owed $600. And he said, why? He said the sex worker couldn't even perform. And we know that was Cash, right? That's the one that had the interview with Armand Green. He said he couldn't perform, and it wasn't because he had something wrong with his little dang. You know, it's because he wasn't used to a man sitting on the side of him, stroking himself the entire time and recording him. I probably wouldn't be able to perform either. You know, shoot, I ain't used to no damn audience with a camera recording on HD as the jury saw. Whoo, child. And then in October 2023, Jane pleaded by text, I don't want to be used. I don't want to be locked in a room to fulfill your fantasies. Diddy said that was podcast talk. Jane said, I don't want to be scared of losing the roof over my head if I don't perform. Diddy told her, girl, stop. Then he sent her some voice memos. And Jane texted Diddy, I've had to fuck strangers for 3 years. For 3 years, all my life, I had to fuck strangers. And Diddy said, let me make love to you. Jane said, you just want me to suck some dick before you jet off with Gina. They showed more stuff like baby oil, fruit plates, escorts, another freak off session. Jane told Diddy, I feel violated and manipulated. Put something in my account. I know that's right, Jane. Shit. Even if you do feel coerced, shit, give me some more money, motherfucker. Shit, you paying all these hotels, all these $1,000, paying these prostitutes all these $1,000, paying all these drug dealers all these $1,000. Give me some more money. Anyway, 3 days later, he texts, hey, how are you? And he wired her $3,000. The court saw messages showing freak-offs and Wild King nights and sobriety parties laced with drugs and sex. And the cross-examination, of course, picked back up today. 75 minutes left for the defense and then a possible redirect. Closing arguments start Thursday and will be 4 hours on each side. Yes. Now, I saw somebody had made a comment on social media, said they saw the diddler, the Venmo diddler thing yesterday, and they realized that what people think can be an insult to a normal person is actually a pet name to a deranged person. And you know what? That's some shit, right? That's the comment of the day right there. People were calling Diddy Diddler to basically say how disgusting, how nasty, how abusive, how, all the worst things you can think about him. They called him the Diddler. And he took that and used it as a pet name, even used it for his Venmo handle to send money and receive money. Ain't that crazy? They was like, that's your real Venmo name, Puff? The Diddler? That was the gag, y'all. That was the gag for me. What up, pretty queen? Hey, boo. Hey, Bronze Media. That is a trip. That is a trip. What up, Camp Me? How you doing? How you doing? Y'all come on in. Make sure y'all like and share the video, please, and thank you very much. Make sure y'all subscribe if y'all happen to be new here. Thank you very much. Now that we got that out the way, let's get through these transcripts. And for those of y'all who probably already seen them, heard them, it's just going to be a repeat. And for those of y'all who have not heard the transcripts yet for today, Okay, here we go. Here we go. I try not to drag it out, and talking too much in between because it's a lot of transcripts. And then, my throat be getting dry and I gotta stop and put water on my tonsils like I am right now. So, okay. Before the jury came in this morning, Diddy's attorney Estavio said, as we submitted overnight, we think it's irrelevant. Cassie's sex to Diddy, well, they call them sex, the sex sexting. Her sex text to Diddy about what she wanted to do. The government said these were acts with Diddy in his office. They are simply not relevant. The judge says objection is sustained. The judge then said, here, Diddy is inquiring into what Cassie was going to do. And she replied, be your little freak. The government said Cassie is asking Diddy for an explicit photo of himself. So it is about her boyfriend. The judge said, I overrule the objection. Diddy's attorney said, Cassie writes she bought baby oil because she just couldn't stop herself. She was buying baby oil on her own. The government says we don't dispute she wanted to have sex with her boyfriend. The judge said the baby oil purchases seems for a freak off. The judge, no, man, you know what? We got a smart judge on the bench. We got a smart judge. He know that baby oil is for the freak off. Why would Cassie be buying baby oil for herself? And Diddy don't even be engaging in the freak offs. He don't be engaging in the baby oil shit. He sit by, he watch, and he record and stroke his shit. So yeah, the judge know he ain't slow. So anyway, Diddy's attorney says they say Diddy drug people to make them do freak offs, but here he cancels a freak off because she's feeling sick. The government says there is no evidence the freak off was canceled. She wanted to have sex with her boyfriend. The judge says let's hold off. The government says in this one, Diddy asks if she can freak off without taking drugs, and she says yes. It is being offered for its truth. It is hearsay. The judge says, I overrule the objection. The government says, here she says, I want my bank account to be right. We object. Diddy's attorney says, this is Cassie demanding money. It is a command of sorts, not hearsay. The judge says, and how is it relevant? Diddy's attorney, it goes to financial motive. The judge, in 2017, question mark? I sustain the objection to Exhibit 1135 on hearsay and 403 grounds. The government says the last one, Exhibit 1417, is about Cassie decorating a hotel room and getting flowers on Valentine's Day. And I thought this might be a little boring today. But anyway, she got some flowers on Valentine's Day. The Diddy's attorney, Estavio, he says, and I'm probably fucking his name up, but anyway, Diddy's attorney said this is a sex trafficking freak off as alleged by the government. This shows Cassie set it up as a surprise to Diddy. The judge says this is hearsay. I am sustaining that objection, but the defense can use her being presented with the layout of the hotel room and the flowers. The photo can come in and the messages with them. Then the judge said, bring in a jury, please. And before the jury came in, Diddy's attorney asked for a restroom break. So before the jury could even come in, they had to have a break. Once they came back, Diddy's other attorney, Jarego, said, Your Honor, our arguments took so long that the jury device turned themselves off. The judge says they are high tech. All rise. The jury enters. Diddy's attorney says, good morning, pulling back up Exhibit 1406 from December 21st, 2021. Jane, Diddy, Don, and Cabral. Diddy's attorney says, turn off attorney screen. We are going to watch some videos. Play from the beginning until 2 minutes and 22 seconds. The public had no idea, what the jurors were being shown or not shown. And some of the jurors had complained because they had been out so long that the cameras are, they had turned off. The computers had turned off. So Diddy's attorney says, so what does she say here? Agent Cicero, who was still on the stand for the cross, she writes, that is so fucking sexy. Then she writes, I'm thinking about it and I'm wet. and some heart eye emojis. Now Paul is in the chat. Y'all know Paul is one of the other prostitutes. But your chart doesn't list Cabral's message. Well, Jane does it. And the agent is like, no. Diddy's attorney says, now it's December 2021. She reaches out to Cabral to say Happy New Year's. She writes, let me know if you want to come tonight. What does Cabral say? He says, yes. I'm cooking for my family, but tomorrow for sure. Diddy's attorney says, but that's not in your chart either. The agent says, no. Diddy's attorney says, under Italian, let's see Exhibit DX 3050. This is April 4th, 2022. Combs with James. Diddy writes, I have been having crazy fantasies about Leo. Child, shut up. Is this the gag for today? The gag for yesterday was Diddy calls himself Diddler. What up, Big Brenda? Hey, Booski. The gag yesterday was Diddy had given himself the pet name, the Diddler, after the entire community, the entire world started calling him Diddler. He didn't give himself that name. This might be the gag for today. Diddy said to Cassie, you know what? I am having crazy fantasies about Leo. Now, people have been saying that Diddy is bi. I don't know why he just don't come right out and say he bi. It probably would have stopped a lot of the, the bullshit that he was involved in. You think? Do y'all agree? Shit, you rich and famous. There's a lot of people who's, I don't want to say lesser than, but not as high profile as you. Basketball players, football players, shit. It ain't shit no more to be gay or bi or fluid. But anyway, he said, I'm having crazy fantasies about you, Leo, you and Leo. He wrote, Adderall is the greatest. Laugh out loud. She writes back to him with a drool face emoji. Then in Exhibit 1406, next is July 2022. You only review what the government gave you, right? And the agent says, right. Diddy tells Paul to come over. Yes. Here Jane says, my place is free tonight. Then she wrote, I got on my knees and thank God for the health of my child and for your friendship. There's some heart emojis, right? The agent says, right. Diddy's attorney says, I'll correct you. It's very nice. And then Diddy's attorney laughs. Diddy's attorney says Exhibit GX103 is between Jane and Paul, the prostitute. The agent says, I don't memorize the exhibit numbers. Diddy says, so let's show it. This is a message between Mr. Paul, the prostitute, real name author, and Diddy, who says staff is leaving. This is the first mention of Anton, right? In October 8, 2022. And Anton, you guys, is another prostitute. The agent says, yes, he shows up too. And these photos, Exhibit 285. Do you see the bracelet she is wearing? The agent says, I do. Jane writes, can you come to Turks? And what does he say? The agent says, he says, yes, love. I have a passport, but not vaccination. Then Jane says, can you get into ATL? And Cabral, he's like a few days later, March 21st, 2023, she asked him about Miami. Dean's attorney says, Jane wrote, tonight was fun. What does he say? I hope you guys are not too confused. They're jumping from text messages all over the map, okay? This is not one lone chain of messages, okay? If that makes any sense. So, in another one, Jane wrote, tonight was fun. What does he say? And the agent says, he said, have a great time with you, baby. Diddy's attorney says, now April 2023. It's Jane, Combs, and Paul. And he says, hey, Jane, true name, I am available. And she asks, what about the 19th? Yes. Then Jane says, I'll reach out. How about P? Is it available? And what does Diddy respond? The agent says, Diddy says, okay, you find location. You in the mood? Jane says, didn't know you were unsatisfied. I stopped and got a couple of more outfits. Jane wrote, I know what you like, Daddy. At the London, before you left for New York City, you did a film. You forgot it. You promised you wouldn't forget. Then a smirky face, a devil face. I'm coming, Daddy. That video you sent me was hot. And a sweat emoji. And let me take a sip. Child, I thought I'd be doing some texting, boy. I mean, some sexting, boy. Now I'm single right now. But child, in a relationship, I can text my butt off, shoot, make it all hot and juicy. But they shit was on a whole nother level. All these damn prostitutes, all this damn baby oil, all this damn lube, and not enough condoms. And too many UTIs and mouth sores. Ugh. Just make me want to get sick. But anyway, how y'all doing? Make sure y'all like and share the video on y'all way in, please, and thank you very much. So, Diddy's attorney says, let's go back to Exhibit 1406, May 19th through May 20th of 2023. Is James, Diddy, Paul, and Cabell. So it's 2 prostitutes this time. And what does Diddy write? He wrote, is Chef still there? She says no. Diddy's attorney pulls up text of the personal assistants, and the agent says, I don't know who. Diddy's attorney says, KK wrote, and you know KK is Diddy's main top assistant. KK wrote, for hotel, they want fruits, outfits, shorts for him, size large, fruits and juices. And she wrote, are you hydrated? I'll be at one hotel, residential side. Hey, hon, had a great time. Do you see that? The agent says, yes. Diddy's attorney says, here, Jane wrote to Diddy. I love you. Can't wait to see you, with heart emojis. But now she writes, let's be positive. Remember how we turned it around at 1 star, right? And the agent says, right. Diddy's attorney says, he says, you got Chef? Now, y'all know Chef is Chef Jordan, right? Diddy's Chef. He says, you got Chef? And Jane says, no. The agent says, Jane says, you know I was trying for my chef. I pooed. And Diddy's attorney says, Jane wrote, are you up to coming to LA? How much would it be to compensate for missing the chef gig? The agent says, he responded, sorry, love. I could have did it with enough heads up. Diddy's attorney says, Diddy wrote, hurry up. She is at a hotel and she is horny as hell. Need help. Laugh out loud. Paul, the prostitute, responds, laugh out loud. The agent says, right. Diddy's attorney said, and Diddy sent Paul an image. Does it look like Shaq? Hold up. What the hell? Shaq. Diddy sent a picture of Shaq? Hold up. The agent said, yeah. Okay, what was that about? The judge said, maybe we have a brief sidebar. Did Diddy send the prostitute a picture of Shaq? What the hell? Hey, what up, though? How you doing, Tay-Bay? What's good, you guys? I'm just over here cracking up off of this shit. I'm like, did the judge ask for a sidebar? Oh, if I could only be a fly on the wall or a juror. I don't ever, well, let me put it this way. I have never wanted to serve on a jury. First of all, some of them cases be boring. And I can be a little biased, depending on the case. I might even try to get my ass thrown off the jury, list. On top of that, they don't pay you enough. They definitely, if you make some good money, honey, they don't pay you enough to be on jury duty. Now, your job, they say some jobs, I don't know if it's all jobs, but I heard some jobs will pay you a difference. Like, let's say you make, I don't know, let's just say you make $40 an hour and jury duty only pays, I don't know, 20. I guess some people's jobs is going to pay the difference. I don't know how that works, but I don't even know if that's true. That's just something I heard. But still, I don't care, even if I'm getting paid all that money. But this trial right here, I would probably sit through this shit for free. For the free 99. I sure would. I just want to see those videos. I just want to see what all they be doing in the sex. The man, ooh, 50 Cent. If you happen to run across this video, 50, if you happen to run across this video, 50, you are a good producer. You are a great writer. You are awesome, talented entertainer. If you really, really are going to do what you said you're going to do, 50, and make a movie off of this, please don't hold back on the freak off scenes. Please don't hold back. Talk to those entertainers. Talk to the prostitutes. They've been on everybody's fucking platform. I wish I can get one of the prostitutes on my platform. I hope he interview them, and I hope he take good notes, and I hope the freak off, man, this gonna be some Cinemax shit, some star shit. This is gonna be some shit that you gonna need to show ID to see. I want it. It gotta be lit. I want baby oil falling off the blinds, off the drapes. You know, they was tearing up drapes, damaging the rugs, damaging the beds. I want baby oil coming through the water fountain, through the water hose, through the sprinklers up above in the hotel rooms, 50. I'm just letting you know, bro. Matter of fact, I think after this, I'm gonna go over to his IG because I follow him on IG. I'll tell him myself because he'll probably never see this video. But anyway, moving along. So they came back from the sidebar only for the judge to say we're taking a break. So after they came back from the break, Diddy, now they said Diddy was wearing like a brown sweater. He was looking over some documents with his lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland. Then he stood up to talk to his other lawyer, Agna. What up, Detach? You came right in when I was acting a mess, when I was showing out. I'm trying to behave. I really am trying to behave. But anyway, yeah, Diddy was talking to his other attorney, Agna. The judge says, all rise. Diddy's attorney, Gallegos, he's back on the cross. He says, back to Exhibit 1406. Diddy wrote to Paul, one of the prostitutes, security knows to let you in the back, right? And then Diddy says, just say P, not Paul. Then Jane wrote, just to tell you I love you, listening to your music and making love with you. Part A, Rose, whatever we were saying. Back to Exhibit 1406, August 12th, 2023. He writes, movie night was off the chain. Now y'all know what movie night is. I know y'all ain't forgot. Diddy, usually their activities would consist of either movies night, where they are watching the replay of all the movies, all the videos they recorded of the freak offs. So it's either movie night or it's freak off night. So either you watching yourself getting fucked or you watching in real time. In real time, you're getting fucked. So either Jane or Cassie or whoever he's with is watching them fuck all them guys on movie night, or on the freak offs, you're doing all the fucking live and in action. That no going out to eat, no going to the park, not going to the lake, not going fishing, not going to the movies, not going to a play. That's one thing that those ladies complained about. Diddy didn't really want to take them anywhere. All he wanted to do was watch them fuck other men, slathered in baby oil, or watch the videos of them fucking the other men. And if they weren't doing that, then Diddy was out with other people, fucking around with other females, traveling with his family, with his baby mama, the one he upheld over everybody else. They were literally just his jump offs. And I hate they stayed so long. I hate they felt like they had to stay so long. Yeah, don't hold back. I'm serious. When it comes to 50, Don't hold back. Shit. For real. I think Fitty can pull it off. I think he's really, really determined too. I don't think he's fucking around when he said he's going to make a Diddy movie. I believe he's really going to do it. But yeah, so Diddy's attorney says, Jay says, so we try something new tonight, and he says, call Cali Italian or call Italian. She says one hotel roof, good for drinks and light bites. Smiley face, kiss face, right? Dayton says, right. He says, baby, I'm stressed out. Diddy's attorney says, she said, I'm back to mommy mode. Now, September 19, 2023, that corresponds to many chats we looked through yesterday. Pull up 1407, not one by one. That's what Diddy's attorney is saying. He laughing too. He said, pull up exhibit 1407, not one by one, and he laughs. Then he says, go to page 48. I just want to highlight a few things that I didn't think were in the chart. Exhibit 3187, Diddy wrote, headed to ATL. Diddy then wrote, I can't even look. It will drive me crazy. And Jane writes, my caliente is a sweating face. That shit was different. All of it. That was September 24th, 2023, right? And the agent says yes. This message said we had a great day. Diddy's attorney says, Jane writes, Daddy, want to see mommy be bad tonight? Right? Slide that dick in me at the restaurant. No emojis. Wait a minute. Let me read that right, y'all. Okay. So Jane wrote, Daddy, want to see mommy be bad tonight, right? Slide that dick in me at the restaurant. No water emojis. Yes. And the agent says, right. Then she wrote, I'm going to blow your mind tonight. Can't wait to lick your nipples. The agent said, yeah, that's what she said. Diddy's attorney says, Jane says more emoji drools. Then she wrote, it's sexy here in the hotel. Yeah, we need to run to the freak store. Let's skip ahead to 55. Then she wrote, I didn't have time to do my nails. And he says, the agent says, Diddy said, I fucking love it. Diddy's attorney says, let's just quickly look at, this is just about Jane and Diddy. The agent said, correct. Line 913, September 30th, Jane wrote, I love you, baby. Have a great show. This I won't repeat here. And he laughs. The agent is laughing. He said, I'm not going to repeat this, what Jane wrote. But there's no location entries until February 8th, 2024. Then Diddy's attorney says, KK asked Jonathan Perez, how does he look? You could put him in front of someone, but he just took a full bar, so I think he'll be asleep soon. Now we can turn off the public screens. And then they say the screens was turned off the whole time. Like the screen's been turned off since court started, right? But then Diddy's attorney says, okay, let's turn the screens off. But anyway, I saw somebody had asked something, around that point in the transcripts. They was like, now who remembers how powerful Cassie's testimony was at the beginning? Can y'all remember after all these weeks, we into the 7th week. After all these weeks, can y'all remember how powerful Cassie's testimony was? Can y'all? I might have to go back and read the transcripts. Because I ain't going to hold y'all. I remember it was very emotional. I remember she broke down here and there. I'm gonna have to go back. Maybe I'll do that, tonight. Go back through the transcripts and read the transcripts, because I just wanna reflect back before they start deliberating, because the defense, they tried again for the 3rd time. They tried to get 2 mistrials. This time they're trying to get an acquittal. So for the 3rd time, they're trying to get the case thrown out. And so I need to go back to the very beginning and I need to go read those transcripts. Because some people are saying, I can't even remember. I like, it's just been too much shit. It's like all this baby oil in my eyes. I can't see. I can't hear. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, so now one thing the defense did. One thing the defense did tell the judges before was that they would need 2 weeks. 2 weeks on the defense side to call their defense, their witnesses. That's what they told them. They needed 2 weeks. But that changed to 2 to 5 days, and then it changed to none at all. Why? Because they truly believe that they're winning. They believe that they're winning, and they believe that they might make a mistake by putting some people on the defense, by calling somebody to testify on the defense. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think the defense should have called somebody, anybody? Phone a friend? What was that TV show, that game show? Can I phone a friend? Do y'all still think Diddy was better off not testifying, or do y'all think he should have testified? Y'all let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. After that, Diddy's attorney said, here you have flight records for Jane going from LA to Miami 5 days before Diddy posts some IG video, right? The agent says right. And now a phone call from Anton, the other prostitute, to Jane, 0 seconds. What does that mean? And the agent says the clock starts at ringing. Diddy's attorney says, we don't have the public screens on, so play this video. And then they hear audio, beautiful day like this, a bass playing. Diddy's attorney says that was June 2024, right? The agent says right. The attorney says, let's play some more video. Oh, 3 juror devices are not working. So yeah, that's when they realized that the juror, they had mentioned that early on in the day, that some of the devices weren't working, and the judge said they had some charging, but once they were ready to turn the devices back on, 3 of the jury members' devices didn't work. So they ended up giving them some of the ones that were charged. And then Diddy's attorney says, let's look at February 19, 2024. Let's look at this exchange. What does KK text to Brendan Paul? Y'all know Brendan Paul is the alleged drug mule, the one who was arrested for, carrying drugs for Diddy. And he also testified with immunity that he was one of the people who delivered drugs to Diddy. But anyway, the attorney says, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. The text message from KK to Brendan says, Wild King mode active or Gucci bag active. Y'all know what the Gucci bag means, right? The Gucci bag means they about to get fucked up. They about to get high in the motherfucker. Wild King mode active is they about to fuck for days and hours on end. And Gucci bag active is the drugs. So how does Mr. Paul, the drug dealer, respond? He replies, in between the two. Why not do both? Now, that day on February 19, 2024, is it listed as a hotel night in your summary? And the agent said, no, it's not. Which is strange, because you would think it was, because they specifically said. But anyway, and then the attorney says, and no messages between Diddy and Jane were reviewed for that day. And the agent says, nope. Diddy's attorney says, let's talk about Jane's travels. Flight records show Jane flew to Miami just before Diddy's Instagram apology in May 2024. We all remember that sorry ass apology that Diddy did after we saw him whooping Cassie's ass up and down the damn halls in the hotel and dragging her by her hair and throwing lamps at the girl like he was out of his fucking mind. The agent said, yes, that's correct. And you found no evidence that a third party met them in Miami? The agent said, that's correct. There's no such evidence. Diddy's attorney says, we're almost done. Please pause the video here. Do you see the message from Jane? I have the best memories. I have just had a few questions about Exhibit 1409. But first, let's pull up Exhibit 1408. Diddy's attorney says, do you see an account transfer for $22,000? The agent says, yes, I see it. Now looking at Exhibit 1409, this relates to Jane and Fuentes transportation. Do you see a charge of $151.99 under Jane's real name? And also a reference to Cabral Williams. Cabral is one of the other prostitutes. The agent said, I do. Diddy's attorney says, I'm also seeing entries for $324.50 and $760.25. Now let's go to page 96. These are from Diddy's personal bank account records. The total due is listed at $74,000. Do you see an account transfer to LCC? And the agent says, yes, it's noted right there. Diddy's attorney says, just one more video to show. Please turn off the attorney screens for me, please. And thank you. The agent, he says, you reviewed the metadata for, the agent said, which chart are you referring to? Diddy's attorney, always chuckling, said, that's a fair question. Let's go ahead and play it. So the jurors are watching, they're watching another sexually explicit video clip at that moment. And Diddy's attorney says, let's look at these records. Let's look at them right there. They show that Diddy's personally paid for travel invoices related to Jane and certain entertainers in both September and November 2023. Diddy's attorney says, yet in the government summary chart, that credit is given to the travel manager. You didn't note that Diddy personally paid for these expenses. No, I did not. And then one final video remains. This one is dated December 17, 2021. Diddy's attorney says, thank you, agent. You may return to keeping New York City safe. And he chuckles again. He's always laughing. Diddy's attorneys, that one, Garagos, he strikes me as petty, y'all. He be laughing and chuckling all the time. And of course, it's in the transcripts. But yes, you said you don't care he's guilty. Yeah, I believe he's very guilty. I do too. Even if it was a mistrial, if it was an acquittal, I still believe he's guilty. But, you know, everybody gets their due process. Everybody has a right to get a fair trial, due process, their own attorney, be it a free one or be it one that they got to pay millions of dollars for like Diddy did. And 400 said he's going live Thursday. Now, is he going live Thursday or was it Friday? I couldn't remember. I was thinking about that today. I was like, dang, did he say he was going live today or did he say Friday? I couldn't remember, but he said he's going to be live Thursday. Yep, I still believe Yep. A lot of people still believe no matter what the verdict say. You know what? No matter what the verdict say, it's going to be people on both sides. It might be 50-50 split. People say, yeah, he got off. We knew he didn't do that shit. They wanted that dick. Take that, take that, take that. Then it's going to be others of us who's going to be like, damn shame. Now nobody else will ever want to come forward with accusations like this against a big star, a big mogul, as what they call Diddy, larger than life, celebrity, entertainer, billionaire, millionaire. This definitely either way is going to change the game, y'all. Either way this case is going to set a precedence. Whether he's guilty or not guilty, it's going to set a precedence. Of course, if he's guilty, more people who probably been through traumatic experiences like this, they might feel brave enough to come forward. And then it could backfire if he's found innocent. So the only thing I can suggest is people, keep your eyes open. Keep your nose clean. When you see something ain't funny, it's a lot of people who then came out saying, oh yeah, I've been to a Diddy party. I've been to that shit and I don't go no more. Or as soon as the after party is over, I don't stay for the after party. It's a lot of people, big celebrities. Oh no, I heard about what they do at them Diddy party. The Diddler, no. after I take my ass right on home. After the award show, if he's throwing a party, album, new release album, new artist, celebration, nope. His birthday, nope. I'll send him a birthday card. Shit. I'll send him a gift. You said when he found guilty, you gonna cry. You gonna do a Lulu? Don't tell me you're gonna do a Lulu 400. Don't be on your pad over there crying, because I'm gonna hit that link so fast. I'm like, do you need a handkerchief? 400. Let me dry your eyes. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, so Diddy's attorney, after the agent was done, he said, you may return to keeping New York City safe. The judge asked the government, did they want to do a redirect? And the government says, yes, sir. Yes, Honor, briefly. Agent Cercilio, did we just see Diddy pay for Cabrera Williams, the prostitute's travel from Atlanta to Florida, crossing state lines? And Diddy's attorney says, objection. The government says, do the government charts include every single text message exchanged in this case? The agent says, no, they do not. The government says, let's pull up the message that predates this. Objection again. Diddy's attorney, Your Honor, that's beyond the scope of cross. The government says, Your Honor, Miss Gallegos, open the door. And the judge asks for a sidebar. After the sidebar, the government attorney says to the agent, during this particular time frame, did you observe any messages between Jane and Diddy that were sexual or affectionate in nature? The agent says, no, I did not. And government attorney Comey says, no further questions, Your Honor. And then he said, well, do you guys rest? Subject to a few possible corrections, yes. Essentially, we rest. And the judge says, jurors, please step out for a break. The jurors exited the courtroom. The judge says to Diddy's attorney, Mr. Agnifilo, is the defense ready to proceed? This is where the defense presents their defense. Again, it's about 30 minutes of going through text messages. So I heard. So one of his attorneys, one of Diddy's attorneys, Shapiro, says, yes, Your Honor, we move for a judgment of acquittal under Rule 29. Now, you know, they had discussed this yesterday. People were posting about it and the news was talking about it yesterday because they first mentioned Rule 29 yesterday, saying that the government was unable to prove a burden of proof or satisfy the burden of proof. So they wanted an acquittal. Shapiro says inference alone is not sufficient. So implying that he was trafficking is not sufficient. Then they said, see another case, U.S. versus Copeland, Second Circle 2012. Regarding count 1, Diddy is entitled to acquittal. The government has failed to meet the legal requirements for RICO. Diddy's attorney goes on to say, there's no evidence of an agreement to violate RICO or to commit 2 predicate racketeering acts. The alleged enterprise must be more than just a group of people. In this case, the enterprise's goal overlapped directly with the alleged racketeering acts. Diddy's attorney goes on to say, such as sex trafficking, which violates precedent, see Boyle versus U.S. There's no clear organization structure. A proper RICO enterprise needs more than a rimless hub and smoke bottle. Then they say, furthermore, the prosecution has not provided sufficient proof of conspiracy spanning 20 years. They claim an inner circle of bodyguards, but failed to show any collective criminal conduct. The evidence offered is thin at best. At most, the case shows use of personal quantities of drugs, some alcohol, Astroglide, the lube, and baby oil. Jonathan Perez testified these hotel nights were personal time with a woman. Brendan Paul, the drug dealer, also described them as hotels for the night. David James testified that he once saw a naked man in Diddy's hotel room, but believed it wasn't within the scope of responsibilities. While sexual encounters involving Cassie and Jane occasionally included third parties. There's no evidence those individuals were arranged by staff. If anything, these encounters reflected a deeper personal connection to Diddy. Jane herself told Cabral, one of the prostitutes, "Don't want the team to intercept you." In May, she mentioned having to wait until the assistants cleared out. Even when KK and the security team became aware of Diddy's alleged violence toward Cassie, that does not constitute racketeering. There is no evidence they aided or participated. There is no evidence that KK knew or believed the women involved were being coerced. Her role appears to be limited to damage control, and there's testimony indicating Diddy was dishonest with her. Though the government portrays KK as a central conspirator, she doesn't appear in the timeline until March of 2016, 12 years after the alleged conspiracy began. Furthermore, there's a clear gap in the evidence. There's nothing between Diddy's breakup with Cassie in 2018 and his relationship with Jane beginning in 2021. Even under RICO, the government must prove the existence of a single overarching agreement. That has not been demonstrated in this case, Your Honor. See U.S. versus Pizzonia, 577 F3D 455. And even if this court denies our Rule 29 motion, some charges should not be submitted to the jury. Under California law, the government must show that the information was about to be disclosed to law enforcement. As the court previously ruled in April, there was a lack of probable cause on that point. Now, you know what? What do y'all think about what Diddy's attorney just said? All that. Basically, like I said, he basically just restated some of the testimonies, some of the text messages, that we heard already in court. From what he just said, and from everything we heard in court in 7 weeks, do you think there's not evidence of trafficking and racketeering? Be honest, you guys. Please be honest. I'm just like, I'm a little stumped. That the defense is claiming that the burden of proof wasn't given, and that Diddy didn't traffic anybody. Yet we hear all these prostitutes and all the money that was paid to the prostitutes, and them traveling over states, being flued out, put up in hotels, even over the border, overseas, on resorts and shit, on ships, on boats, on yachts. And they saying the government did not provide burden of proof. Okay. All right, so let's read some more. Let's read some more, y'all. Let me screw back up. Hold on. Okay, some of this should not go to. Okay, so even if the court denied this Rule 29 motion, again, some of this should not go to the jury. That's what they are claiming. They said Diddy was seeking to avoid negative publicity for both himself and Cassie. There was no police involvement. The guard who testified said Cassie did not want to report it. Cassie said the same thing as did Kerry Morgan. Eddie Garcia said the money was for the video, nothing more. Of course, that was bribery. But anywho, Cassie appeared on FaceTime and said she had a movie coming out and did not want that video coming out. Still, Diddy offered them $100,000 for a criminal activity that was recorded at a hotel. Still bribery. even if Cassie didn't want it coming out. And I understand. I wouldn't want that shit coming out either, especially I'm going to still be with the motherfucker, right? Now, if I was really leaving that nigga, hell yeah, leak that video. That's proof. I'm about to put that motherfucker in jail. You know, I'm about to sue him for everything. But she knew she was going to be back with him. So, you know, why put that out? It wasn't merely for just because she had a video. That is embarrassing. He dehumanized her. And it was caught on tape. But anyway, the NDA permitted Garcia to report to law enforcement. Diddy's attorney goes on to say, this is Shapiro, y'all. On obstruction, they have to show intimidation or threats to hinder or delay, citing Arthur Anderson versus U.S. There must be constantness of wrongdoing. Here, the incidents involve Maya and Jane. On Maya, there's no actus reus. This one is about D-Rock trying to get Maya to speak with Diddy. But it sounds like a normal conversation under her radar went off. No threats were communicated. All D-Rock said was, Diddy wants to talk with you, Maya. But Maya testified that she knew that it was going to be probably some more Diddy putting his hands on her. That's why she didn't want to meet up with Diddy. That's why she was trying to stay thousands of miles away from that, as far as she can get from him. But anyway, Diddy's attorney says her reactions could not have been foreseeable to D-Rock or Diddy. She did not even answer Diddy's calls later that day because she didn't want to talk to him. And D-Rock didn't bring any money. She said she was out of dollars, and D-Rock never acted on it. D-Rock said, if you don't want to, it's all good. The prosecutors characterized these as nice messages. There was no evidence D-Rock or Diddy thought Maya felt threatened. So this is not witness tampering. So that's where they was trying to say that he was tampering with a witness with Maya. We know that he was trying to contact her. Diddy was blowing her phone up over and over and over and over and over and over. And then when she didn't answer, that's when he started sending his goons, his security guards, his bodyguards, having KK and all of them try to reach her because he wanted to talk. He wanted to meet up. She didn't want to. The nigga's crazy. You put your hands on me. You dragged me. You threw me out. You threw me on the street. No, I don't want shit to fuck do with you. And then you didn't pay me all the money that you owed me when I was working for you. Shit. At least give me my money. But she did end up suing him. So I forgot for how much though. But she did end up suing him. And it was rightfully her money too. So it wasn't like she was suing him for something else. She was suing him for the income that he didn't give her. But anyway, moving right along. Diddy's attorney said there would have to be proof Diddy knew of a federal investigation at that time. There is none. I think, me personally, y'all, I think Diddy did know of a federal investigation. Why else was he trying to get out of town? Y'all remember that fool was trying to get out of town? He was trying to fly the coop. The drug dealer, Brendan Paul, he was trying to get through the airport with all them drugs on him. Come on now. They gonna say that Diddy didn't know about no investigation? I'm pretty sure he knew. But anyway, and he got them expensive lawyers. After that shit came out, he probably was like, hey, y'all, man, y'all let me know. Y'all see anything? Y'all hear anything? Y'all let me know. Y'all got access to all those government websites and, you know, all the documents and all the, you know, transcripts and all that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Diddy knew that there was a federal investigation going on. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, Diddy's attorney says Diddy was already paying James rent. There was nothing in the call about that. This was not corrupt persuasion. There's no federal nexus. Now they want to argue 159(1)(d). That would be a constructive amendment, as we'll say at the charge conference. And again, the charge conference is going to be tomorrow around noon to make sure the jury knows exactly what the charge is going to be that they have to deliberate on in the counts and stuff. Diddy's attorney says, anyway, we think that statute is unconstitutional. On forced labor, the statute was meant to enforce the 13th Amendment. It is used for domestic workers, here legally or not, forced to work, squalid conditions. These are able-bodied U.S. citizens perfectly capable of leaving when they wanted to leave, and they did. What the two were most afraid of was losing their job. With respect for Capricorn Clark, She continued to work to show she hadn't stolen it. Not being paid overtime is not forced labor, Capricorn Clark said. Diddy told her to get the fuck out of my house, and she said that was crossing my boundaries. She got a higher paying job. She alleged wrongful termination, presumably because she wanted to stay. Then 50 Cent, with respect to Maya, she had a higher GPA. She got her later job with Madonna, so the elements are not met with them either. On kidnapping, there is insufficient evidence as to 2 of the 3 allegations, even if you credit the U.S. witnesses, Capricorn Clark and the lie detector test. Uncle Paulie took her to the building. That does not satisfy New York law. Diddy didn't know. She went willingly every day. The other, Cassie, at the London hotel, she says she was taken there and held for several days. California law has 4 elements not met here. On arson of Kid Cudi's car, no evidence Diddy was ever involved. And on count 2, Diddy would have to know. I'll focus on his mens rea. It's about what he understood. How could he understand? Cassie says she did the freak offs to make Diddy happy. She didn't communicate reluctance. Look at the text. In the Intercontinental, the fight happened after the night of sex, and there was no sex after the violence. The video seemed to show that Diddy, after he gets the cell phone, just sits in a chair in the elevator lobby. You got to be lying to me. You got to be lying to me. He talking about after Diddy got the cell phone, he just sat in the chair. Yeah, he just sat in the chair after he chased her down. Y'all see how that nigga bent that damn corner so fast? I'm surprised he didn't break his dang ankles. Bending them corners, chasing her ass down, snatching her up by her collar, dragging her by her hair, kicking her, stomping her, throwing a damn a lamp at her, and took the damn cell phone, then took her bag, and then walked back to his hotel. Then he came back and sat down in the damn chair. Do we gotta play the footage? Do we gotta bring that good old bean footage? No, we don't. Because we done seen it many times, y'all, and I done seen it more than enough. So I'm not gonna play it either. But if you would like to see it, it's on my shorts. Matter of fact, it's on my videos. I uploaded it a couple of weeks ago. So just click on videos and you'll find it. The full extended version of the hotel beating is on my videos. Okay. Not the short one that we saw when it first came out, but the full extended version is on my videos. So anyway, they said as to Jane, she engaged in sex for economic benefit. For example, the house. There was only 1 incidence of violence, which I'll get to. The fraud theory is deficient as a matter of law. Turk's trip ultimately happened. She wanted to go out for dinner. This was sweet in a lot of romantic partners. It has vagueness problems. People do it all the time. It's not fraud. Immigrants being tricked into sex for green cards is different. He's a wealthy individual, but won't take her on a yacht. They never alleged sex trafficking of Jane until they found out she was alleging a circle incident of assault. That is telling. This theory of fraud is incredibly weak. The fight at Jane's house in LA, this single act is not sufficient. There's no evidence that escort came from outside of California. Escorts were paid for their time. Both witnesses said they were not prostitutes, Phillips and Hayes. They were called entertainers or escorts. Thank you, Your Honor. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put some pimping in it. So Phillips and Hayes, who were paid for sex, they don't call themselves prostitutes. That's like a stripper that's like a prostitute, a female prostitute saying I'm a dancer. I'm just a dancer. I just get paid to dance on the stick. That's not prostituting. Those 2 prostitutes, Phillip and Hayes, said they are just escorts and entertainers, but they were getting paid to have sex. You just can't change it up like that. We know what happened. We saw what happened. We heard what happened. Anyway, the government. This is the government clapping back. There is more than enough evidence, Your Honor. Your Honor, you can reserve on that. If you like argument, I like a bathroom break. And the judge says, I can reserve. The government said the defendant should be allocated. Diddy's attorney says, give me a moment. The judge says, this where, we went over this in the beginning. The judge says, Diddy, how are you feeling? And he said, I'm doing great. I want to say thank you, Your Honor. You're doing an excellent job. And the judge says, do you understand that whether you testify or not, it's up to you? Do you understand that? And Diddy said, yes, Your Honor. And the judge said, it is your decision not to testify? And Diddy said, yes, it is my decision, solely my decision, with my lawyers. And the judge says, thank you. Shall we take time to allow stipulations? And Diddy's attorney says, yes. And then they take the break that the prosecutors wanted. So when they came back, it was around 3:07 Eastern Standard Time. The jury entered. The judge says, now the defense case. Diddy's attorney said, we enter into evidence the stipulation about devices provided to the government by Cassie. Mr. McLeod, DX1402 is the exhibit. Can you highlight row 5? And Diddy's attorney says, highlight local use, where it says, I'm the luckiest woman in the world. I'll get all the pictures together this week. So many good ones. And they said, meanwhile, Diddy was seated between Westmoreland and Brian Steele, and he hands Westmoreland a pad. Diddy's lawyer says, local user, I owe you a good night. If you want me to call someone, I need to treat my pop better. I promise I will be better. If I don't, you can leave me, but that won't happen. Cassie then wrote, I love you and thank you for always trying with me. I will be a woman, not a child. I'm leaving that in 2012. Now pull up exhibit 1402, row 66, February 14th through the 16th, 2017, exhibit DX 1417A. From Violet to Cassie, teamwork makes the dream work. Now the public exhibit screens are not on for the contest photos of flowers in the hotel. Diddy's attorney says, Diddy writes, you think you can freak off without getting high? And Cassie says, smiley face, now. Blow up the first couple of bubbles. And Cassie writes, send me a dick pic. Diddy's lawyer says, Miss Ventura, right, I just bought baby oil at the store because I couldn't help myself. Then I'm proud of us. We've been together for a long time. Baby, you do make me happy. I looked at my bracelet and it made me smile. Diddy's attorney says, Cassie wrote, you are my best friend. And this message was sent on May 30th, 2017. Diddy's attorney says, I will read this about Daniel Phillip. He was told to sit on the couch while Diddy took his turn with Cassie, and he felt jealous. Diddy's attorney said in October 2024 and April and May 2025, Don Richard, y'all know she was with that female group that Diddy used to produce for. Now I can't think of the damn. What was the name of the group, y'all? Danity Kane. Yeah, Danity Kane. Don Richard met with law enforcement. The notes do not reflect Diddy telling her where he comes for people go missing. As to Hayes, he stated that he began to have feelings for Cassie. As to Capricorn Clark, notes from the first 11 of her 13 interviews with law enforcement and the government did not mention a call made near Scott Cuddy's car in LA. The first of Maya's interviews do not indicate that Diddy initiated sex with Maya, or Bonna did not initially say Diddy told her, I will kill you at a photo shoot. Exhibit 3228 was not admitted. It was 3288. We may have more. The defense rests. The government says, the government does not intend to present a rebuttal case. Jurors, you do not need to come in tomorrow. You'll come in Thursday. And the judge says, all rise. The judge says, had the parties discussed logistics for Thursday? Diddy's attorney says, we should go to 5 p.m. both Thursday and Friday. And Diddy's attorney says, agreed. The judge says, when will I have the charges back? Diddy's attorney says, may we have a moment? The judge says, yes. The government attorney Comey says, let me withdraw a non-existent exhibit so no one tries to find it one day. We have to put a demonstrative 1512 to be unsealed. The judge says they will be unsealed. The government attorney says, we do not expect the jurors will be able to begin deliberation until Monday. It's going to be a lot of argument and then your instructions. The judge says that's fair. The government says we'll submit the charge by 7:30 p.m. The judge says that'll work. until 10 a.m. So around 10 a.m. tomorrow, that's when they should have like the charge conference or the charge meeting. And then the judge says, I'm calling an audible. Tomorrow it would be noon for the charge conference. The government attorney Comey says, I hope we don't have to object during defense submission. We don't think it's be appropriate for Mr. Agnifilo to bring up current events or uses of U.S. resources. Now, y'all heard the other day, y'all. Y'all heard the other day I had posted it on my community wall. Let me go to my community wall real quick so I can read it. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so I had posted yesterday. Somebody said, breaking news. Diddy's legal team may cite the rising Iran Middle East conflict in closing arguments, aiming to cast doubt on the federal sex trafficking case. Sources say the defense may rest without calling witnesses, confident the government has not proven its case. That was via TMZ. So, yeah, they said they might, invoke the recent conflict with Iran in their closing arguments. And somebody said, we're told the defense is going to go a little something like this. This was a manufactured case of bedroom police instigated by Homeland Security investigation. And rather than worrying about what Diddy is going through, what he is doing with his baby oil and his lube, Homeland Security should worry more about the escalating conflict with Iran. You can't make this shit up. You ain't nan a day that you can make this shit up, y'all. The jury will be deliberating soon. They said probably by Monday. The defense, the prosecuting team, so far they rest their case. Unless something comes up, you heard them both say, we might have to be back here in front of y'all again. So for now, both of them rest their case. Whew, child. This has been a long 7 weeks. A long 7 weeks, y'all. Y'all prepared for the verdict? Are you prepared to meet the Lord? Whew. Let me tell y'all something. So I ran across this article, right? I ran across this article, and I was telling y'all about this in the beginning of the show tonight. There's a warden. There's a warden who has something to say about Diddy. Excuse me. So we know that Diddy, he's in the Metropolitan Detention Center right now in New York. And a former associate warden at the prison explained that Diddy's situation could worsen. And what he had to say about prison life for Diddy if he got a guilty verdict. And he's a former prison warden. He said his prison experience could get worsened with a guilty verdict. Okay? His name is Dr. Dwayne Hendricks. He's a former associate warden at the MDC in Brooklyn and former senior warden with the U.S. Department of Justice. And he spoke to Law and Crime Scandal about Diddy's life behind bars. And he explained how Diddy initially lived in the special housing unit. He said after they were able to do a threat assessment, kind of look at his mental health and all of that, they were able to put him in a housing unit where they would consider putting like ex-cops or cops who may have been arrested for whatever, being compromised or corrupt, and putting them with inmates that are being charged with like sex offenses. He said, typically you don't want to put cops in a normal general population unit, obviously, because obviously they can run into people they've seen before on the street. And also some sex offenders. He said, they just have a hard time walking on any compound of any jail. Hendricks went on to say that the prison transitioned Diddy from SHU into a unit where he could prepare for his trial. But Diddy hasn't had a real taste of prison life just yet. He said, however, I will say this. If Diddy is found guilty, he will then get the real experience of what prison life will be like. Because at that point, there will be no catering to his individual needs. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Child. So that's my spiel, y'all. That's my spiel. I'm gonna drop the link as I always do. I'll give y'all a few minutes. If anybody wants to hit the link and discuss anything with me, anything you heard, anything I read, anything you came across, your thoughts on the case, I'll drop the link. I'll give you a few minutes. If y'all don't hit the like, then I'm out this bitch. Hold on, let me put the link in. I can scroll. My mouse tripping. Oh, it's cold in here. Golly. Only got the air on 73. Ugh, I am freezing. I'm gonna have to turn this air up. It was 85 degrees today, you guys. So it was a nice break. Oh my gosh. A nice break from the hundreds that we were going through over the last week. So 85 was cool. Shit, I might sit out on the patio this evening, enjoy some of that nice night breeze. But yeah, it was 85 today. Right now they say it is I guess it's a little humid. They saying it's 78, but it feels like 83. So I guess that's why the air keeps kicking on. But tonight they said it's going to be 70 degrees. We might have some showers. Last night we had some thunderstorms. Oh gosh. It wasn't the thunderstorms that keep you awake or you think a tornado might come through. It was just some nice, some strong winds. It was nice. I slept really good last night. Matter of fact, I think I went to bed kind of late. But they said we might have some rain and storms tonight with that humidity. That can definitely cause it to rain. But yeah, so let's see, making sure nobody hits the link. All right, y'all. So I was just up here trying to run my mouth to give y'all time to hit the link if y'all wanted to. I am going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, the reading of the transcripts. The doors of the church were open, but now they're closing. Okay, but if you want to leave an offering, if you want to drop something in the bucket on the way out to for the commentary or just to support the channel, support me, I appreciate it. The Cash App is $ the Hood Table 402, or you can donate by way of Super Chat. Feel free to do that way. But if you can't, just make sure you like and share the video. I appreciate that so much as well. It really helps with the algorithm, and it really helps other people find us, content creators, by the algorithm, by Google, by AdSense, YouTube. So that really helps a lot. So we do, as content creators, we do appreciate when you like and share. Okay. If you happen to be new here again, please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. As soon as I get more information, more details on the trial, tomorrow again is the charge conference. So if there's anything out there that I see worthy to come to you guys and talk to you about, I will. Other than that, the closing arguments are supposed to be Thursday, supposed to be 4 hours each. They said the jury might deliberate Friday or Monday. So we shall see, y'all. We shall see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in again. Like, share, and subscribe. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. I love all the support that you guys give the Hood Table. AKA T. That's me. AKA the Cake Diva, the Cake Artist. Okay. Matter of fact, I just posted a recent cake that I did last weekend on my community wall. So check that out if y'all haven't seen it. It was a Dallas Cowboys sheet cake. Somebody wanted me to make it for their brother who passed away some years ago. In his honor, he was a big Dallas Cowboys fan. So those type of cakes, I really, the cakes, like I done told y'all before, the cake decorating I do for children parties, children birthdays, baby showers, things like that. That's my favorite thing to do because I can have fun. I can have fun because kitty cakes, baby shower cakes, those are fun. You can use all the colors and just do a lot of things. When it comes to adults, grown-ups, especially men, it's much harder to decorate for a man because they don't want too many frills. You know what I'm saying? Guys don't usually want too many frills on their cake. But I had fun decorating this cake. They loved it. They enjoyed it. Matter of fact, I got some order requests after that. People was inboxing me on Facebook after they saw the cake. I always tag people when I make a cake for them. I always tag them once I think that they're got the cake to the venue. I try to wait and give them a chance to make sure they get it to the party so that the person that the cake is for, won't be, unexpectedly surprised if it's a surprise or something like that. So I always wait a while, some hours, maybe till nighttime. Then I'll tag them and they always tag me. Thank you so much for the cake. We appreciate you. So yeah, so anyway, that cake, I had fun decorating that cake over the weekend. But anyway, you guys, enough of that. Stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times, and always remember, keep it on. I'm out. Bye.